Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com.
Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here, your host as always. Luckily, I have a co-host this evening.
What up?
What up? This is Kevin Miller. Did I pronounce those two very American-sounding names correctly?
Yeah, luckily you got it right.
Nice,
you didn't have to work too hard.
Not
Pretty
too many
easy.
umlauts or other weird accents to screw up in there.
You can try, but I mean, I don't know how else you can
Kevin
pronounce it.
Miller. Very French.
I don't know. I'm the only white guy named Kevin that's not Asian. That's not the best in class in high school. So.
And you're not the ugliest.
Yeah, well,
You're
sometimes.
not the best either, but we'll go.
Okay.
All right. So Seat Time. What is Seat Time? You have joined these two fine fellows this evening, Tuesday. We're going to be talking a lot about what's coming up here in Austin, a lot of the X Games that's going on. But typically, we are the online show for the off-road enthusiast. If you like doing anything on two wheels and it happens to be about getting dirty and getting nasty with it, this is probably going to be the show for you as well. You can see that we might beer drink a little bit while we bench race.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's kind of fun. I actually found this when I was at the store, the Woodchuck Hard Cider Cellar Series, and it's mint. I don't know yet. I got to get into it a little bit.
I just got this at the gas station, and it was $6.
Kevin Miller, everybody. High class. High class.
Very high class.
So Seat Time, you can find us on our website, seattime.co. We do archive everything there, so you can find out all information about the show, things about us, all that kinds of stuff. If you're looking to find just the videos, you can get those on YouTube. Of course, they're going to be archived there on YouTube. That's even where our live events are. If you're looking just for the audio, you can find us on Stitcher and iTunes. Both of those are podcast, platforms.
Yeah, it's the only thing that I listen to.
Yeah, you do a lot of Stitcher, right?
So yeah, only
Is it
on
hard
Stitcher.
to find on Stitcher? Like when you look it up?
Super easy.
Okay.
Seat Time. Stick it in. Good to find.
Stick it
There
in.
you go.
Good to find.
Easy. There
That's
you go.
what she said.
Oh yeah.
It's Tuesday night, not Friday night, but we'll get there soon. So, of course, we are on every other social platform you could think of. If we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. So any of those little fun bits, just go out there and find it. We're not on Snapchat, though. Problem is I would probably just send very awkward pictures that are not worth being on Snapchat for. Maybe they are. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, you can try and send some, but I don't want to receive any.
It could get awkward, folks. It could easily get awkward. So, again, we're going to have a fun night talking a lot about stuff that's coming up this weekend for X Games and the EnduroX. A lot of Endurocross athletes that are going to be there. But first off, we want to do, I don't know if you guys remember, last week we did have a fun discussion with the promoters that are putting on the Funky Chicken, which is coming up. Well, another promoter that we wanted to chat with were the guys that are putting on Last Dog Standing. So we got Greg Bender reached out to us through one of the other promoters that are putting on the race. And he's on the show tonight to talk with us and kind of let us understand a little bit more about Last Dog Standing and what the Prairie Dogs are doing with that event. So we have to ask, first off, Mr. Greg Bender, how is your evening going, kind sir?
Oh, it's going great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it a lot. I'm here in my secret little hiding spot. I just may be in a location from the Last Dog Standing race. It's kind of hard to tell.
We like to call this the hut. This is the hut. This is like I get Taylor Roberts' knobby right up the back of my head from being in that little hole.
There you go.
Well, cool, man. So you're having fun. Are you a Southern California native?
I am a Southern California native. Been born and raised here. My family's here. My family that I'm raising is here. So I'm a local to the area and a veteran of the area. And, know a lot about all the riding and racing that's going on around here.
Very cool, very cool. So Last Dog Standing is an event that has been going on for a couple years now. I know that, and you mentioned while we were talking earlier that it was kind of maybe a little bit of an offshoot from Last Man Standing that used to happen here actually about an hour and a half from this house here in Texas, which is a great event.
Yeah, I went to that. It was really good.
Yeah, it's super cool to watch. I did not want to compete in it because it looked ridiculously difficult. They literally said, Red Bull was like, we want one person to finish. And what happened that last year?
I don't know.
One
3?
person finished.
Was it just one?
Just that last person, that
I
last
guess I
time.
gotta pay attention.
So, what did you guys see there that made you go, holy crap, we need to maybe not copy this, but emulate this and then start to create our own kind of hard enduro or extreme enduro?
Yeah, well, with the introduction of Endurcross and things going on here in Southern California and kind of the shrinking of the deserts with the government and so forth, the Prairie Dogs got together and decided that we wanted to do something unique for the area and challenging for the area. So one of the local areas that's pretty well known for racing is Glen Helen Raceway out in San Bernardino, California. We held our Grand Prix race, our Prairie Dog Grand Prix race there every year for the last 20 years. We were looking at what can we do that's kind of different and unique that would challenge riders to the best of their abilities and go from there. So we kind of got our heads going and we started thinking of this wild thing, and it was the last man standing contest and so forth. And, you know, we're prairie dogs, so eventually it just kind of ended up to the last dog standing. And we went from there, got input from some racers, got input from a lot of people around the area. And then we went to work on the terrain and said, what are we going to do to make this event challenging enough for these guys to come out and try it out?
Well, have you got any special things, or are you kind of keeping everything secret?
No, well, you know what's happened. This is the 4th annual event. We've been successful now 3 years, and each year we build upon it. You know, the first year we're out trying to figure out what are we going to put in. Let's do this, let's do that, and we're looking at the size of these obstacles and the size of these canyons, and they'll never make this. We can't put this in there. And so we removed some of this stuff, and we thought it was going to take an hour and a half for them to finish, and the top riders finished in 45 minutes. So we really, really learned a lot from the first event, got a lot of input. I think Kyle Redmond was our first place finisher that year, and Quinn Cody, Corey Graffunder were all up there. So we took on that and built upon it for the next year. And more obstacles, more difficult terrain, you know, found some more man-made stuff that was challenging. And went to town on it, and just trying to challenge these guys to the point where it would be difficult for them. You know, we're not out to kill anybody.
Yeah.
We're just trying to see how well man, machine, and their physical agility, you know, can last, and the obstacles and they can go through.
I noticed one year you guys had a really cool drop-off. Is that something? And I was like, oh, that's super cool. It looks like you would see like in the mountain bike kind of free ride world, stuff like that. When you guys are coming up with these obstacles, or you know, something that's more man-made than like a natural, you know, tough terrain bit, do you guys go, man, do we want to try to be more tough on the man-made obstacles, or do you try to find more tough, I guess, natural terrain obstacles to kind of, you know, to break up the different aspects?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we're kind of challenged with our area because there's an extraordinary amount of difficult terrain, but it's kind of a few miles away. This is an 8 to 10 mile course. So to try to keep it spectator friendly, so you can get the publicity, you can get the photos, and so forth, we're trying to create a little bit more man-made terrain within the area. And if you're familiar with the Glen Helen facility there, it kind of has a valley with a national track, which they just held last weekend, the AMA Outdoor National. Yep. Or excuse me, 2 weeks ago.
Which was awesome.
So we try to take some of that terrain and build upon it. You know, we'll bring in some tubes, we'll bring in some tires, and there happens to be some natural change in elevation there that's close by. And then we were able to, you know, 3 years ago, I said I wanted to ride up this thing, and they're like, oh, they'll never make it. So finally last year we said, well, let's ride off of it. And then we said, well, instead of just riding down it, why don't they ride off the diving board? So we created the diving board, and, you know, it's about a 6 foot walking plank, if you would, out off this cliff. And it's a 30-foot drop down to the bottom. Of course, it's not flat, but right after that, they have to stop and go through a bunch of floating logs in 3 feet of water. And that's just before the finish line. So there's a lot of great spectator area for them to see. And this year we're going to put even more of these man-made or custom obstacles in the spectator area. And like I said, we used the National Hill Climb last year. You know, these guys are out there on these, you know, motorcycles with, you know, 700,000 or 7,000 horsepower, 700 horsepower.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're all low motors. Yeah, a lot of horsepower. Yeah. So we're making these guys try to climb these things, you know. So it was fun to watch. It took them several times, but you know what? These guys are good, and they make it.
That's cool. I think I would loop out quite a few times and probably snap quite a few fenders.
Definitely.
And when I say quite a few, I don't mean that I would carry extra and reattach them. I'm just sure that if I retried, I would definitely break them over and over and over again. Yeah. So the pertinent information. So for people that are, in Southern California, they probably know about this race and they have a good idea of how to either sign up or, head to Glen Helen for the event. So for those that are listening that don't know that kind of information, what is the website? When do they need to be registered by? When do they need to show up at Glen Helen? What are some of that kind of information so we can make sure that everybody that wants to know is in the know?
Absolutely. Great to know. We've been very doing a lot of promoting on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/PDLDS. A lot of activity going on there. You'll see a lot of the riders contributing comments. Also, the Prairie Dog website, you can find the entry flyer there. That's prairiedogsmc.com. Go into the Last Dog Standing event. You'll find the entry flyer there. The event is June 14th. At Glen Helen. You can show up the day of to sign up if you want. You have to be there in time at 7 o'clock to do that. And to point out, the exposure that we've got from this event has been tremendous. I mean, a couple of years ago, we've had riders coming from Latin America. We had a guy come in from Hawaii. We've had people from New Mexico, Texas, Oregon, Utah, all over the place. They come to this event. And we're getting a lot of curiosity out of our European friends as well. So, but some of our biggest competitors in this event, as you know, are a lot of the Endurocross guys and the off-road people. Everybody from Taylor Roberts, who's won it the last 2 years, to Johnny Campbell, 11-time Baja champion. So they're all out here. We appreciate them. We do this for them. And, anybody has any questions, go to the website, go to the Facebook page, and we'll get it answered.
Cool.
So how long have y'all been out there trying to build this course?
This course, we were out last weekend doing a lot of trimming, if you would, trying to make it so that you could see the obstacles. But usually we just build on a lot of the existing stuff, and we'll spend the next couple of weekends out there putting a lot of the man-made obstacles together.
Very cool. What, in your opinion, what is the hardest obstacle going to be out there? Or if you don't want to say that, maybe what are some pieces of the hardest obstacle out there?
I think it's fair.
Wow. I would definitely say the hill climbs that we have are very difficult. We have some downhills that have changed due to some flash floods, if you know what I mean. So the terrain is a little bit different than what it was last year. So that should be very challenging for these guys. But there's some funny ones too. There's this, if you're familiar with Glen Helen, there's this bridge that crosses over the track. It's a walking bridge.
Yep.
And we make them ride up through this thing, and they're all caged in, and there's all these tires that are hanging down. You can see it on some of the photos.
Yeah, I've seen
A
pictures of
lot of
that.
photos and videos out there. If you Google Prairie Dogs, Last Dog Standing.
It's definitely a famous bridge for sure.
Yeah, there's so much intense scenery out there. I mean, there's guys that are upside down. There's guys that are just swimming. So there's just a lot of things. And it just amazes me that everything we throw at these guys, they're still able to do these events, and we still get 6 finishers. So, that's okay with us. We're going to keep challenging them. 6 finishers out of 100 is okay. And we just try to bring some new things there. We've got some new up and down hills. We'll bring back the diving board again. Some other surprises, I guess we'll say.
Right. I love it. Well, dude, I know that this is going to be an exciting event. I wish that it was easy enough to just jump on a plane with a bike and do this.
I just wish it was closer to me.
I know. We need to get some of the KR4 Arrive and Ride guys to possibly support an event like this. And they could drive 10 to 15 bikes across the country, and then we could just fly in.
I would rent one.
We could do some moonshine.
I'm down for some moonshine.
It's not South Carolina.
A little bit of moonshine.
It's not South Carolina, but SC is also Southern California.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
We'd be able to get you some Prairie Dog moonshine, I'm sure, if you guys wanted to make that trip.
As long as it's not actual pee from a prairie dog.
Oh. Now I'm scared.
I don't trust. I don't know if I trust the Keegans, the guys that run the KR4 program, that much. I might have just been drinking urine that they said was moonshine. I mean, who knows? It all tastes like piss.
As long as it got you messed up, it's all right.
All right, cool. So everybody can go to Facebook. Make sure you look for the what was it? The PDLDS.
Yeah, facebook.com/PD for Prairie Dogs LDS.
All right, I'm actually going to put the link. I found the link on Facebook. I'm going to drop it into the chat room. For those of you that might be watching live right now and don't realize that we have a chat room, the chat room you can reach is TLK talk.io/seat time. It's a little funky, but it's pretty much talk.io/seat time without an A. And that way you can get in there and help engage us for conversations like when we're talking to Greg and things like that. So you guys jump in there, check out the link that he just mentioned so you can learn more about Last Dog Standing. It sounds like everybody's going to have a fantastic time trying to break themselves and their motorcycles on June 14th. But the best part is after that, there's probably going to be quite a few coolers of beer waiting to be consumed.
Maybe even before they pull off.
Awesome. Well, Greg, we really appreciate you getting a little creepy with us and putting that sheet back there. And that just so everybody knows, let's be completely honest, it is not his fault. There was just a lot of glare, and we were like, is there anything we can do to get rid of some of that glare? And he was like, I got a sheet. I was like, let's roll with the sheet. So we're not opposed to getting creepy. We just asked him to keep his shirt on.
Flashlight. We got it.
Awesome.
There you go. Hey guys, thanks for having us on. Appreciate it. You guys got a great show.
Thank you very much, man. You guys have a good one in Southern California, and hopefully we'll chat soon.
Okay, hope to see some of you guys out here. We look forward to it.
Later, man. As we switch over, of course, we like to talk about some of our fine sponsors, which is one of the things I didn't really mention that well, unfortunately, right when we started in the very beginning. So Fly Racing, Stillwell Performance, the guys over at Fast Company making the awesome flex bars, and the guys at Dirt Tricks. So if you're like, ooh, I really like this show, Seat Time is kind of fun. So Wally Palmer is definitely listening to the show as we just call him in. Gosh, that guy. We try to tell him so many times.
Oh, that guy.
But you can always support this show by going to the people that support us. So definitely, please check out Fly Racing, check out Stillwell Performance, and you can go see the guys over at Fast Company and the guys over at Dirt Tricks.
Yeah, definitely need to give Stillwell a call because my suspension is not very good at the moment.
See, that's what I'm saying. And you can say, hey, I heard about you guys on the show. I heard there's a discount, and there will be because you're just going to tell them that there should be, and they'll give it to you.
I'm broke, and I need a discount, so I'll take it.
You're like, I was a co-host on Seat Time. There's like a co-hosting Seat Time discount,
Please
right?
give me 5% off,
Right?
at
Absolutely.
least.
So there's been a ton of stuff that's gone on that we really did want to talk about, but again, we don't need to be here 3 hours a night like they do for Pulp MX, sometimes 4. We like to get into the information, have a couple beers, and talk about it and have fun with it. So, speaking of having fun with it, we have Wild Man Wally Palmer Skyped into the show. This shit's going to be awesome. Dude, what is going on? How's your evening going, kind sir?
Hey, how's it going? Packing.
Packing?
Yep, leaving for Texas at 3 a.m.
Texas for 3 a.m. So what time do you actually get into Austin?
I think around like 8, 9.
8 in the morning. 9 in the morning. You know there's bars open that early.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I know. Woohoo! Yay! No, Austin's a fun town. Have you been to Austin before?
Nope, never been to Austin. I've been to Texas, but not Austin.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty fun. You can have some good times down there.
Yeah. It's
if
going
you're
to be
willing
cool.
to let your hair down a little bit and go.
It's going to be good. Steve Christini knows a couple of people, own bars and houses, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, I was actually just emailed Steve earlier today. I was like, hey, Steve, I've never met you. I would like to introduce myself, and maybe we could have a few beers and be like, what's up? And we'll see if we can make that happen. Well, you, Mr. Wally Palmer, are somebody that I wanted to talk to because you're a wild-ass man. Not just like you're batshit crazy, but you are literally Wild Man Wally Palmer. I mean, that is your name. I mean, there's no two ways about that. So when did all of that begin for you? Were you just always the showman? Did you become a showman? Did you decide I'm going to win it or break it? Like, break it down, like where this persona came from.
Or did you just give it to yourself?
Yeah.
All right, I grew up riding 3-wheelers with no brakes on.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, you didn't have to speak much.
3-wheelers. 250R, 2 strokes, and just riding down the railroad tracks on whoops pretty much every day and wide open. I don't even know if I had a helmet back then. I was like 11, 12 years old. Then guy Jim Corsello got me in dirt bikes and went racing and went from there.
That's pretty insane. So when did you graduate? Or I guess it's actually
upgrade.
Yeah, upgrade. It's not a graduation. When did you upgrade to 2 wheels
smart.
versus 3?
Well, I was like what? I started at 14. At 15, I started racing. In the pre-lap, like the hot lap, you just go out there and take a look at the course, hair scrambles. I'll come back completely muddy. Everyone else is clean, so.
If that tells us anything.
Right there it started.
What is this slow shit? What are you guys doing, man? Let's go ride fast. It's like the throttle goes from here to here. I mean, there's a stop on it for a reason. That's where it needs to rest.
Yep,
Not for me. I just like a little bit.
I think I'm trying to remember which last man standing it was. shoot. It was the one where they had the kind of Endurocross build up like
Right at the end?
500. No, it was like 500 yards into the beginning, and it was like you, David Knight, and one other rider, and you hit the culverts at the end of this thing and just launched the shit out of them.
Oh, I remember that.
Holy,
Okay, yes.
do you? I hate that this is gonna sound dumb, but do you think about what's about to happen, or it's just whatever it is, it is?
Well, David Knight, when the first turn hit me, so I went off the course, came back on, and I decided to jump over him to get him back.
Well, that's fair.
And just, I wasn't planning on jumping, and it felt good at the time.
You should have reached out for a skill switch.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't just look good. It was. I think I had happy times in my pants.
Oh.
Partially I was scared. Partially I was excited. There were all kinds of emotions going on. It was very strange.
There's some definite emotions going on over there with you. I don't know.
It's this side of the couch. Don't worry.
It's okay.
So 2008, kind of looking back into the history books, is when I saw you kind of start entering into the Endurocross realm. And the series started in 2007. Endurocross didn't really join the X Games ranks until 2011. So there's a little bit of a gap in there or some time in there where you were competing in the Endurocross series before X Games really became part of the picture. I wanted to know if you could kind of talk to us a little bit about the pre-X Games Endurocross, how or if it was different, and some of the things that might have changed since it's become more of an X Games sport on top of just the series.
Well, the first couple ones we did were really tough. No one really had a track. We just all went out there. We were all like hare scramble guys, hare and hound people. We all just went out there and tried this. But now we all have tracks and all been practicing. The speeds are a lot quicker, so they're making obstacles a lot bigger. And now it's good. It's a lot more a little bit jumping, but I like jumping, so that's what fans like too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to see people jumping off logs and stuff. I enjoy it.
Yeah, like Vegas was great. It had that big tire double and throwing whips and looking at the crowd, and they're like right next to you. So it was, they like it.
So do you build multiple tracks a year, or did you just kind of stick with one layout, or how do you normally deal with that?
Well, we built a track. I think I built it back in 2010. I was in Geico at my buddy Mike Hershey's place, and he's knocked a couple of trees down and started collecting tires and logs. And that track was done. Then it was good. Then we built another track at Mike Wheeler's place that I started training as a kid, and that track was big because it was at a heavy equipment place, and he had every machine there to play with.
I would imagine that being able to have all that kind of that heavy duty equipment really would allow you to build much crazier and more fun Endurocross obstacles.
For sure.
With how many of the X Games world competitions were you able to compete in last year?
I did them all. I did this one's going to be my 8th race I did, but I did the LA's and Brazil, Spain. In Spain I did Step Up, then Germany.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna definitely have to come back to Step Up because I remember that when you were, I hate to say it, but when you were attempting that, I would have never even been on the bike sitting at the bottom of that thing, but it looked pretty intimidating.
My bike probably could have made it over, but it would have ghost rode.
Yeah, it would have Brian Deegan'd it for sure. How was the world events? And I would imagine that some of the reason that they're not happening again is because it kind of took some of the prestige out of it. I think people were winning one gold medal a year, and then they were able to win all these medals throughout the year. Even though I know they were trying to get X Games physically to more locations. So do you guys have any kind of acknowledgement or knowledge of why there are no more X Games worlds?
I think
X Games.
It cost a lot of money to ship everything around. They had hundreds of workers, and it cost a lot of money to do what we do. And then they don't really charge you going to X Games, so I don't know where they're making their money. But the rally cars that had to be expensive.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So that right there just drained, I think, all their money. But not sure. But it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah,
so.
It was pretty cool to see you guys going around the world, around the globe. I noticed that the tracks seem to be a lot faster, and I like the one that Taylor Robert won seemed to be super quick. Like you were saying, they did have a little bit more jumps, a little bit more motocross style. Is that something that is typical to X Games, where it's the more technical, slowed down Endurocross style tracks are kind of sped up a little bit, so they have a little bit more of what maybe all fans would enjoy a little bit more?
It was fast. We had some big tire jumps, and they had a big log jump, and it was, like Desher Abbott went down really hard off the log jump. It was like fourth gear wide open, jump off a log going like 60 feet.
Yeah.
It was stuff that we never even, you don't practice that. And then, but it was big stadium, so they had to build up big track. The tracks were technical, it was still tiring, and the rocks were just slippery.
So do they throw in stuff that's actually hard for you guys? I mean, I know that stuff is hard, but I mean, stuff that's actually hard to get over.
They'll throw it in. Then if we all go up it, they'll just wet it and put some mud on it and get it slippery, and you can't get up it.
Okay,
So,
well, that's fair.
So far, we've only had one race this year. It seems like the series, I would say the series this year feels like it started off a little slow. And that's just because of the fact that we haven't had as many races up till this point. Maybe it was because of all the stuff that was going on with World X Games that it felt like we had a lot more Endurocross series going on, but obviously none of those were part of the points pain. So this year, how is it kind of being an Endurocross rider? I would imagine it's got to be kind of tough right now with you guys have only had one race. Are there other ways that you're able to make income, and do you have a full-time job as well? Like, kind of how are you fitting the bill?
I think it's good. Because I work full time, so I was able to actually get healthy, finally get my body 100%. For the last 7 years, I've been hurt every year, still riding. And
I think that's
so now
all
I'm
of us.
happy we had a little break, and now it's get back to racing.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Of the pictures, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Of the pictures and maybe the videos that you've seen, is there something crazy that stands out in your mind that's just like, holy crap, I can't believe I did that?
No, I like a challenge. I seen they're gonna have a tire step up, so that's gonna be fun. Something to do something crazy off of.
Oh, that's good. So how much prep are you guys getting with these guys? Are they kind of giving you heads up on what the course is gonna look like in the track, and or do you guys get practice or anything like that before the events? I mean, I would assume you get practice, but I don't know how much.
No, we don't really know until we start seeing pictures from the Enduro guys posting. But no, there's no practice. We practice Friday. Our race is Friday night, so we practice. We get about 2 15-minute practices, and that's it.
And that's pretty close to normal, though, right? I mean, you guys probably get what, 2 10-minute practices, and then your hot laps and your qualies and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's good because you don't want to destroy your bike in practice.
Yeah.
So do you ever ride a trials bike for this kind of? Well, not for the racing, obviously, but do you ever ride one for fun? Since you do the Endurocross kind of stuff.
Yeah, I played with one for a little bit. Then Jack Field came over to ride, and I ended up getting one with him, and he's just backflipping. I was gonna backflip, but he told me to wait. So
I would wait.
He makes it look so easy. I'm like, I could do that, and it's not easy at all.
I would imagine.
Did you see Taylor Roberts' backflips?
Yeah, that was good.
Can he backflip a full size bike?
He did both. He did his trials bike originally, and then I think when Caleb Russell was out there, right when Taylor Robert had signed with KTM, he was out there doing it. And Caleb told me, he's like, I thought about it. He's like, I was really thinking about it, but he kind of backed off on the last second.
I can't even backflip off my boat, so
I can't backflip on a trampoline. Okay, that's how pathetic
I will land
am.
off.
So
I got the same problem.
Oh, we got a good question from the chat room. What tires are you running?
Which tires?
Yeah, are you running the gummy bear?
Now I'm running an IRC tire. It's a special tire. I'll find out when I get there. I had one last year. It's so soft, but I didn't really get to practice on it, so I'm just gonna test it at the X Games.
Right.
Not too smart, but the tire is soft.
Hey,
so.
run what you brung.
Is it like a trials compound kind of tire, or is it just a knobby normal
Softer.
motocross tire?
It's like
Softer
a tire, but it's way soft.
From what I've heard, talking to a couple different of the guys, some of the guys who run with Dunlop, they have a gummy bear tire, like what they call it, and then Kenda's got with kind of like a super gummy tire, and so I didn't know this, but I guess IRC does as well, and V Rubber too. I think they all have these like prototype. So is it could I go out and buy this IRC tire, or is it something that you're getting specific from them?
I think this is like a special made tire they want me to test.
Okay. So not only are you racing on it for the first time, but you're testing this shit.
Right.
It may not have knobbies.
Yeah, it may not. So, hey, well, I got the front wheel drive to pull me around too.
That's true. That's
Ooh.
true. So tell us a little bit about the Christini and how that has affected the way that you ride over some of these events or some of these
I've
obstacles.
always wanted to try one of
events.
those.
Yeah, they're good if you get stuck. The front wheel drive will pull you out, and that helps a lot. And then just when I do my whips and stuff, if I start an endo, I just hold it wide open and I won't go over the bars most of the time.
So does it ride close to the same, other than it just kind of pulls with the front when you turn, or is it something you have to kind of get used to?
No, it's pretty good. Like if I motocross on a different bike and ride that, I go on it. It's pretty good. Everything's the same.
All right.
So it's just, yeah, basically you don't get stuck. So it helps.
Well, that definitely helps for sure.
Wally, you actually came out and did a couple of the last man standings. We were talking about the fact that you jumped the crazy culverts and all the other stuff that's gone out there. And I remember you were on a Christini at the time. On some of those hills, now the way I think about it from what I've heard, it's when the back wheel starts to lose traction is when it changes some of that horsepower or some of that power to the front wheel, so then it can actually track. Is that correct? So it's not actually always pulling?
Yeah. As soon as your back wheel starts to slip, the front wheel slips, and then it'll start to go. But if for some reason you don't want all that traction, you can adjust the clutch, so you can have it slip a little bit. You can make that front wheel slip, so it's not 100% locked in.
Okay.
So do you ever run an automatic clutch for these type of events, or do you normally just try and keep a normal clutch?
I run both. I use the recluse clutch, so that clutch is really good, or the manual recluse clutch.
Yeah, those things are awesome. So I don't know, man. You're coming into Austin. What about you and I were texting a little bit about parties that were going on, and I was all excited because somebody said that I could come to their BMX party, and then you were like, "Oh, but the skate parties are so much crazier." Blah 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 blah. I was like, "So Wally Palmer, have you heard anything about parties yet at X Games?"
Not yet. I heard it's supposed to be good. I know Jolene, she's gonna be there. She said there's a bunch of parties. So it's gonna be fun. You gotta have fun while you're there. We race Friday, so
I know.
Saturday, Sunday, it's open.
It's on.
Yeah.
Well, we're leaving Sunday morning just because my parents are having their 40th wedding anniversary party and like all this stuff. They just moved to Texas, so they're doing like a big housewarming party on Sunday here in North Texas. So we have to leave back for that. But yeah, Friday night and Saturday night, we've kind of got free reign. Me and our friend, another friend of mine, we're the two husbands, if you will. So the wives are going to hang out and watch the kids, and we get to come out and play. So hopefully we can meet up with you guys and see how poorly we do in the presence of heroes or something. They do have a mechanical bull, I know, on 6th Street that we could go attempt to get thrown off of.
I would win that.
I would
win that.
I won't.
Sure.
I'll tell you now, I'll lose, but I'll try.
I'll try and win. And I'm not going to claim that I'm going to win, but I will try.
What about you, Mr. Palmer? Would you ride a mechanical bull?
Yeah, I'll do it. You get hurt on it, it's great. Something to get hurt on, keep doing it, right?
Just wear your helmet.
The last time I was on 6th Street drinking, the gentleman Adam that I'm talking about that's probably going to be coming out with me, we actually became friends with some chicks that were in a bachelorette party. And the reason why is because we were all making fun of the chicks that were on the mechanical bull, and one of the chicks in the bachelorette party laughed at what we said, and then we just got to talking, and it was funny. Well, we hang out with this whole bachelorette party the whole rest of the night, and we go out to the Handlebar, which is off on 4th Street, I believe, or 5th Street, off of 6th. And we wind up, my buddy Adam had a Seat Time shirt on, and they had the little bachelorette party shirts on. Well, she actually takes her shirt off and says, "I want to swap shirts with you." And so she gets a Seat Time shirt, and he gets the little bachelorette shirt.
How come that never happens to me?
I know. And I was like, and unfortunately, it's because we're so cool, not because the Seat Time shirt was that badass. I think, anyway.
I don't know. I like the Seat Time shirt.
Let's try that.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Seat Time shirt. You guys got one?
I'll bring you a couple. The only thing I say is that you can keep the women. I get their shirts. That sounded kind of creepy.
But no,
didn't it?
I want the women. Can I please have them?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to fight
please.
Wally for the women. I can't have the
Alright,
women.
Well, then I lose. I don't know what to say.
Wally's shorter than you, but look at those arms. Come on, show us your guns, Wally.
There we go.
Peace.
Oh, man. No worries. All right, so people want to learn more information about Mr. Wally Palmer. They're like, man, where do I go to find this guy? He's got to be on Twitter. He's got to be on Facebook, all this kinds of stuff. So where would people go to find more information about you?
I started Instagram like last year, so Instagram's been pretty good. You know, 'cause you just post videos and crazy pictures and crashes, and so I'm going to be posting some good stuff on there from my head getting run over by Jeff Aarons. So,
I went on your website and it wasn't refreshed from like 2012 or something, so not on there.
Yeah, that was a good year. My head ran over, ripped my ACL. I did a lot of things that year, so.
All right, so everybody go try to find Mr. Wally Palmer on all those. But unlike your Skype name, it's just Wally Palmer, right?
Yeah,
like all your stuff.
Yeah, everything's Wally Palmer. Then Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everything.
And then your real name is actually Wallace. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's Wallace Palmer.
So
I'll use that in a couple years to get older.
Right now, it's like I'm not really a junior, but I just go by Wallace. So did at some point in time you drop the Wallace because you were getting beat up, or maybe you're such a badass now because you were getting beat up because of the name Wallace?
I think Wallace is like, I don't know. That's for like older guys, I guess.
Right.
So keep it somewhat young.
Keep it somewhat young.
All right.
After
my back's still sore from doing step up in Spain, so.
I would imagine that's pretty far landing down there. I'm not.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, before we let you go, tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you get invited for that? Did you just say, hey, I'm batshit crazy, I want to try step up, and they were like, let's get Wild Man Wally Palmer in there? Or how did that evolve?
Well, they probably saw him jumping off tires on the flat.
Yeah, I was in Brazil, and I'm like sitting in the stands. I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to do. I was like, I'll never do it. I'll be too scared. Then I was shaking around. I was like, oh, you want me to step up at the next race? He was like, yeah. Next thing you know, I get an invite for step up. So I'm like,
shit.
See what you get for asking the question.
Endurcross, and I'm sitting there about to get changed, and like, you're in for step up. I'm like, all right. I was like, let's build the jump. We built the jump in about an hour. One out on a bike with just regular suspension. Tried it, and I was like, this is going to be interesting. So I practiced a couple times, and had some good crashes, you know, trying to practice, because you're going wide open straight up a wall.
Yeah.
Then
So did you have to
you're
change
a
your
little bit
suspension?
sideways going off that lip. You pretty much go down. So then I just got my suspension done and went to ship it on the plane. Then the shock never made it. So yeah,
Okay.
that was not fun. So
Nope.
I did Endurcross on, I think it was Saturday or Friday, and then we did Endurcross. I led the first lap and the first heat, and then I think something happened. I think I caught a rock on the clutch line, so pretty much rode the LCQ smooth and got back, worked on the bike, and then went out the next day for a step up. So that's the first jump I did on it. We started back farther than 30 feet. So I kind of rolled into it. When I gassed it, I turned left a little bit. Basically pushed off the bar, jumped off the bike, and landed right on my back.
Wow.
So, lesson learned: no left turn off a jump. So we
Do you think they're gonna have a sign for you this year that literally says like no left turn?
Just put that on your butt patch.
Well, Twitch and all them were standing at the post I pushed off of, and they're just looking at them like, man, I'm going to take out like Twitch and all these guys. I just pushed off the pole and jumped. But we fixed the bike. I broke the triple clamp because the thing landed so hard. Then went out, and they were already practicing. Went out, hit the jump probably like 2 times, and I did it good, and I threw a whip the first time hitting it and looked back just, you know, to get out of my head like, hey, you crashed. It's like, well, I'm going to hit this thing into a look back and a whip for the second shot at it. Did that, and I think something else happened. And then So I only had to jump like twice, and this I hit like 20, 25 times. Then after that was TV time, and then go for the bar, and so I had no practice at doing it. And you just hold it wide open, and close your eyes, and hope you make it over the freaking bar. It's like an elevator, like it just goes straight up, and then you're like, I'm hitting it right away. Then all of a sudden you go down, and then I look back, I'm like, how's that bar there? It looks like I just took it out. But
so are you more nervous doing that than you are Endurocross, or what?
I didn't want to get nervous. I just thought about like just hold it, wide open, drop the clutch, and because I was on a 2-stroke, and the guy in practice, the other guy in practice, tried on a 2-stroke. He cased it and broke his ankles. Tried it twice, cased it and broke his ankles. I'm like, oh, here I go.
You're better than that guy.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, oh man, because he did it before, and the jump was really hard. It was really soft, and so you couldn't really get a good run at it. And so I'm just sitting there like, just hold it wide open and just pray.
Yeah. So the 4-stroke in that situation, because you're just coming from a dead stop, trying to get all that grunt to get up that thing, I guess as fast as you can, really comes into play there over the 2-stroke.
They just come up to it and just roll on the throttle and just have that power, the torque up the lip. I had to just hold it wide open like a motocross start and just go.
So were you on a 250 or were you on a 300?
I was on a 300 Corsini, so I was the first one to attempt it on a 2-wheel drive, and then first off-road guy did two-step up.
At least you had 2-wheel drive. That's probably why you beat the other 2-strokes.
Yeah, the second his balls started dragging the ground because they're so fucking huge, the front wheel started to pull. Jesus, Wally, listening to you talk about this, it's not fear of not making it. It's fear of not going fast enough to make it.
Or fear of turning left.
That's what blows my mind, is that you're just like, I don't think I'm not gonna make it. I don't think I'm gonna go fast enough to make it. Like that kills me, dude.
Just give it all the gas and just go. It was slippery, so if you got a little sideways off the lip, the one jump I did, I was a little squirrely coming up to it because it was like soft clay. I mean, hard clay, so it was all wet. It was like pretty much like a high mud. And I was like, I was half tempting to bow, and I brung it back. So yeah, you don't want to fall from that height. Because like I said, right on your back, and I had Enduro suspension, so it was rough landings.
That sounds impressive to me.
Anything
with Enduro suspension in the air is not good for me.
Well, dude, good luck staying up. I don't know if you're going to stay up or go to sleep for your flight at 3 a.m., but you're going to get into Austin pretty early. I don't know how busy you guys are going to be come tomorrow and Thursday. There's some pretty neat stuff to see around Austin, even if it's just sightseeing type junk. So definitely, if somebody's local to the area, or if you can't find anybody, text me and I can shoot you some stuff to do. One of the things, too, is the bats. I know it sounds weird, but they have got one of the bridges that's like over the highways or something. A bunch of bats live under there, and so there's a certain time of night that you can go sit kind of by this overpass, and all the bats come out, and you're like, if you got a chick, you can bring her and make out with her or whatever. I mean, that's what they say. I got a wife with kids. We don't make out. We wonder why the kids are screaming. So
got the same problem. Don't worry.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta pack. I gotta put my bag. I didn't pack yet or nothing. Still gotta do wash. Last minute. And Jack Field and Christy, it's coming from Australia. They're gonna race the 2-wheel drive bike too. So we got a lot of work to do on the bikes to get them ready for them.
Yeah. So do you have a significant other, or are you a free agent?
No, I got a girlfriend.
All right. Well, I was gonna ask how many condoms you were gonna pack, but then I won't ask that question then, since you have a girlfriend.
You can still ask.
I'll just allude to the question that I was going to ask. That's fine. All right. Well, dude, you travel safe. Get packed up. Can't wait to at least share a few beers with you, and that way you can realize in person that I'm just as much of an idiot as you realized I was on the show. And we can kick some ass at X Games. What do you think?
Yeah, hopefully I get a gold and come back on the show, and then hopefully it'll be a good party going on.
I like it. Well, the video, what we're going to do is, if you get gold, I'm just going to bring my camera with me to the after party, and what we film that night will be the show next Tuesday.
Can I put on your gold medal?
All the motorboating and all the body shots, possibly $1 bills in places they shouldn't be. It'll be a good time.
That's where they
It'll be
belong.
A good time. All right, dude. Take it easy. Travel safe, and we'll see you soon.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. See you guys.
Later. All right, Mr. Wally Palmer. I've been wanting to have him on the show for a long, long time. It's just taken me a while to find a way to say, hey, dude, you're awesome. Come on to the show.
He's definitely a pretty cool guy.
He really is. He's a super cool dude, and I'm glad he was able to come on the show because he's going to be at X Games. He really is something crazy to watch. Like, when you get the chance to watch him ride, it's just...
Well, I didn't even know that was him at the Red Bull Last Man Standing. That's pretty cool because I remember that. I was standing there watching that.
It was not the first year. I want to say it might have been the third year that he did it. The third and last year was when he jumped all those culverts over David Knight. And jumped over David Knight. So as we do get ready for our next guest here on Seat Time, I want to say a big thanks to all of our sponsors. Fly Racing, you can check them out at flyracing.com. They have all their kinetic mesh gear, so you can check that out. Stillwell Performance, we were talking about the fact that your suspension sucks. So what you need to do, stillwellperformance.com, and you can, at their website, they have a form that you can fill out to contact us. You just tell them, hey, I was listening to Seat Time, my suspension sucks, I need help, let's chat. And that right there is going to get you your foot in the door on a bitch.
That's going to happen soon.
So, of course, then, too, you're like, oh, man, I want to have better handling on my bike. Another way you can do that is the guys over at Fast Company have the awesome flex bars. I don't know if you've ever ridden those.
I've ridden with those one time, and they're incredible.
Isn't it?
I would never think that I could ever notice that small of a difference.
Yeah, you think that you're like, flex.
Do.
Oh, I'm going to feel the flex. You don't feel the flex. You just,
I don't
feel the
big
effects
impacts
after the fact because you
I don't
don't
feel the vibrations.
feel all that stuff.
It's pretty cool.
It's insane. So Fast Company, fastco.com, you can check them out. And, of course, the guys over at Dirt Tricks make a lot of products, but the ones that really put them on the map is the fact that they make such a bitchin' rear sprocket that is just as light as an aluminum sprocket, but 800 times stronger. That's not scientific number, by the way. That is just me having
you can claim it to be
had
scientific
half
if you
of
want.
my beverage, but it is definitely stronger and worth checking out. So dirttricks.com. Super, super happy to have those guys on and support us Seat Time. So we're going to go with our next guest, and I'm going to, now, Morgan, do not correct me until I say it wrong, but I'm going to try to pronounce your last name right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it's going to be Morgan Tanke. How did I screw it up?
It's very wrong, isn't it?
It's actually Tanke.
Tanke. So it's not a silent E?
No.
Oh, what ethnicity? Nope, that's not right.
Ethnicity?
What ethnicity is that? Is that?
We're making up our
Where
own
are you
words.
from? So, are your parents German?
I don't know. I have the slightest idea about all that stuff.
Yeah, you're like, man.
I don't know where I'm from either. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm in high school. I have red hair. People laugh at me. It is. I'm just kidding. If I was a ginger, I would be happy about it, so I'm okay with it. But I have to say, we definitely are very happy to have you on Seat Time. We had a lot of people reach out and tell us that you are an up-and-coming Endurocross, a lady that is out there riding, putting in the effort, and that we should have you on the show. And I was like, you know what? That sounds fantastic. Let's do it. So, doing a little bit of research, it looks like you've been riding trials for a while. That's kind of where you got your background on motorcycles. And just as of recent, in the past couple of years, you switched to riding bigger bikes. And even more recently, you switched to actually competing and riding Endurocross. Now, you can correct me on all the things that I got wrong and tell me all the things that I got right, because I do have an ego. I don't want you to deflate it completely. So give me some credit.
Just do it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little.
Well, you pretty much got all of that right. Like I rode trials since I was about 4, and then I switched over to dirt bikes when I was like 15, 16, and then I decided just to take it and race Endurocross. And I mean, the reason I saw Endurocross and knew I could do it was from X Games. Like I saw it and I knew I could do that, and I wanted to, and so I did it.
Huh.
And finally got the invite, so I was pretty happy about that.
Now, it's interesting the way you just said that. You said you finally got the invite. Is that because that you've hoped that you would have had it earlier, or is this the first time that you thought that you would have had a chance and that you did get the invite?
Well, I've been trying, I think, for 3 years now.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was pretty stoked to get it this year.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I want to race X Games.
Yeah, I want to.
They would laugh at me.
I want to watch you race X Games. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to race X Games. So, you're an athlete, and you're trying to get this invite to go to X Games to race an Endurocross. how do they tell you have been invited? What is there a process? Is it crazy? Is it intricate?
Did you have to put up
Or is
YouTube
it just-
videos?
Yeah,
I know
was
that
it
Brett,
just like
Brett Q or whatever trying to do best whip had
Yeah.
to go through a very long road.
how did you find out that you had gotten this invite?
Well, they emailed me a couple months ago, I think in like March or something like that. And then I wasn't allowed to tell anybody for like a week, so that was kind of hard. I had to keep that in. And then,
Because you wanted to go straight to Snapchat, didn't you?
Yeah, Instagram needed
Yeah.
to blow up.
yeah, exactly. And then they did the press release, and then I got to tell everybody that I was invited, and then that's pretty much how it all went on.
I bet that was a really tough week.
Oh, it was.
Are you so at 17? Are you a junior in high school, a senior in high school, or are you drop
yeah,
out?
I'm a junior.
Junior? Okay, well, that's good. I'm
No,
glad you're
I'm
not a
not
dropout.
dropout.
That's good. That's good. I was 17 as a senior. I did not turn 18 until after, like, I was almost about to start college, and then I finally turned 18.
Yeah, I was 17 as a senior too.
Horrible. So you're gonna be 18. Are you gonna be 18 like most of your senior career?
Yeah, I'll be 18 the last day of the year, so the 31st of
So
December.
So half. At that
Well,
point in
yeah.
life, are you just gonna tell your parents, "Stop telling me what to do. I'm 18. I'm going to high school."
No, I don't think so, because they pay for all my racing and stuff, so I can't really do that.
Okay, yeah, you better be nice then.
Yeah, you're a very intelligent young lady,
Yes.
and I'm glad you have a good head on your shoulders.
Buy them presents.
I want to ask, is there any, I would imagine at this point in time, you've raced her, so you would have some inkling of who Rachel Gudish is. She's just a little bit older than you. She just graduated high school. You know, I've watched her kind of move up through the ranks on a much bigger team this year, much more support. I want to know from your perspective, being a little bit younger, is she someone you look up to? And tell us a little bit about some of the other ladies in the sport of endurocross that have influenced you on, what you're trying to do right now.
Well, me and Rachel, we're pretty good friends. I mean, we're friends, but we're also rivals at the same time. I mean, we're good friends off the track, but when we're on the track, I mean, we'll just go out there and battle if we have to. That's with everyone, too.
You're not afraid to throw a front wheel?
Yeah. And I definitely would say I looked up to Maria Forsberg. She's she's done a lot in the sport, so she's definitely one to look up to.
Yeah, I think that's a good one to look up to. To be completely honest, she's younger than I am, but and I'm a male. Not that it matters, but I definitely look up to her. Like she's a force to be reckoned with, man. Especially because for such a long time she was not only racing a full career, but she was also working a full-time electrician job. I mean, she was out there just on the path.
She's actually working to get it done. All right.
So it's like even when she was underneath the KTM tent those last couple of years, racing GNCCs, racing Endurocross, fully factory supported woman rider, she was still going to a full-time job. So
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So hopefully that instills in you some good
ethics.
Ethic
You
things,
can use that word.
Things of importance to make sure that you don't screw up in life, because we don't want you to do that. So now that you're here, you've gotten the invite, you're going to X Games, you're in Austin right now on Seat Time, pretty much the best off-road show on the internet, because we're the only one, but still, what have you been doing lately to try to to do the best possible job you can while competing at X Games?
I pretty much treated X Games like it was a normal cross race. I don't want to go too crazy and practice too much and hurt myself before. So I wanted just to keep it all together and just stay in the same rhythm that I have been for all the races I do. I don't want to change it up too much. It is a bigger race in theory, but it's also, they're all the same. You do the same thing each race. So
do you don't prepare any different, or do you prepare any different for like a big event like this?
Well, I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Do you prepare any different for an event kind of like X Games, or you just kind of come in and into it the same as you would just anything else?
I just try to practice like the same as I do every race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that one of the things that we saw was that you were doing some training with Destry Abbott with the DA8 program. facility, all that kinds of stuff. However, so tell us a little bit about that, because I know that that's a cool thing. You know, he's been training people for a while, but he's kind of really put a lot into the DA8 program this year with the whole new facility and all that. So go ahead and tell us, you know, how that's been for you and how you think that that's really helped, or, you know, maybe it hasn't, but I have a feeling it has.
It probably has.
Oh, it definitely has. Going up to pedestrians has helped me so much. Teaching that you don't think you're doing wrong. Like, because when you practice all the time, you just get in that motion and you don't think you're doing anything wrong. But then when you have a professional telling you, like, oh, well, if you do this, then it'll probably be a little faster for you. So, I mean, and he teaches me all, like, the skills that the guys are doing that most of the girls aren't. And the guys are obviously a lot faster than us, so it's probably better to ride like a guy. So.
Right.
Well, if there's somebody to train for him, I think he's probably a good person to train for.
Yeah, he's definitely
for
a guy to watch. Have you had a chance to ride his KX 500?
Hopefully not.
No, I have not, but I got to ride his, I think it was his 450 around
Yeah.
the track a little bit.
That's
But
probably just
honestly,
as
I was
fast.
too scared to ride it because I didn't want to crash it and break it.
Man, I would love to throw a leg over that KX 500, his old National Hare and Hound championship bike. That thing.
No,
is
thank
a
you.
beast.
No, thank you.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It'd be so much fun. So, let's speculate a little bit here, if you will, Morgan. X Games goes phenomenal. You medal. So you're at your first X Games competing. You medal. You know, we're coming up on some more Endurocross rounds. You're starting to do really, really good. You're medaling at those. What do you see as a possible next step? There are not, I don't think, a lot of places for women to only be Endurocross racers and to try to keep making money at it. You know, you can go to college and all that stuff and wind up getting a job and do it on the side. Obviously, we've seen people do that. But if you wanted to try to keep going and try to see this as a little bit more of a all-encompassing paying job, what do you think those next steps would be for you beyond just doing some Endurocross races?
Well, I mean, I've been trying to stick to Endurocross just because I'm not really good at the other stuff. I'm a decent rider at everything else, like works. I've done a few of those, but I mean, I'm not very good at it.
Right? That's okay.
I mean,
Believe me,
once I
you
get
haven't
by-
seen me race a works race, have you? That's because I'm really bad at it. So,
I mean, I'm a trials rider, so going fast doesn't really. That's not in my roots.
Do you ever ride any
But I've been
motocross
trying.
for fun?
I've
Or
been trying. Huh?
yeah.
do you ever ride motocross for fun, or are you just normally trying to stick to the woods?
No, I do. I usually go to the motocross track at least once a week.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
good.
good.
Yeah.
Because you would, if you do remember a gentleman by the name of Cody Webb, he was also just a trials rider at one point in time, and now he is definitely a top competitor in almost every hard enduro he goes to, and you can see that he's been winning a crap ton. I think now we've had the last 4 Endurocross races going back into last year, and then the first one this year. So being just a trials rider is a lot of talent.
I think that's a better base to start with because you're better at the technical kind of stuff.
Because the things you guys learn as a trials rider is the stuff that we, as just a guy on a dirt bike, never learn. Because for you guys, it's all about control. For us, growing up, it's just the speed.
Yeah.
You know, the speed is the first thing that you can conquer easily because it's all about fear at that point. There's no real bike control when it comes to speed. Now, jumping and turning, that's where a lot of bike control comes in and gets better. But I think for you guys as trials riders, the only thing that makes you better than the rider next to you, well, I wouldn't say only, but probably for the main thing would be how well you can control the throttle. You know, your bike control skills are just off the charts. So you probably do have a fantastic base to become, I don't know, whatever you want to be.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
is why you're 17, still in high school, and about to go to college, because you still have the whole world before you.
And
Right?
are good at dirt bikes.
So probably just said too many big words. Got a little too deep. It happens. So Austin, what do you think of Austin so far, Morgan?
Well, I pretty much have been here for a couple hours. We got in at I think like 6 o'clock, and we did the indoor skydiving because they were having
yeah.
So you're already having fun. Jeez.
yeah, they were having that athletes party thing, so we got to do that. that was awesome. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as hard as it was, but it was pretty tough.
Yeah, was that the iFly place?
Yeah, that was it.
We have one of those in Dallas now at the Stonebriar Mall.
I've always
in
wanted to
Frisco.
try that.
I took my daughter Kaylin there. She was 7 at the time. She's 8 now. She loved it. She was really afraid, but she had a lot of fun doing
do
it.
that?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
And Morgan's correct. It's not hard. It's just much more technical than you would think. Like the bike skills thing we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like it's just
yeah.
those little tiny like the ways you can control your body. You just don't do walking.
Well, I'd like to have that experience, but unfortunately, I don't want to jump out of a plane. So
Hey man, that's why you do the indoor skydiving.
I need to do that.
There
It's
it is. You're
probably
like 10
cheaper
feet
too.
off the ground.
But
So,
look, they got,
all right.
like,
So
fan
what's next
blades.
then? What else do you get to learn about Austin? Have you been mugged?
Oh,
Hopefully not.
You could say no.
I don't know.
You haven't been mugged?
You don't know if you've been mugged.
The what?
You haven't been mugged?
I don't know what you said.
Mugged.
No.
Okay, that's good.
Well, that is good.
Because I said, have you been mugged? And it was like the computer broke up, and I was like, oh my god, is she telling us this like crazy story? And we don't know what's going on. It wouldn't have been good. So what do your parents think about all of this?
Well, I mean, we didn't really know that we were going to get into this. We kind of just like jumped right into it. But, I mean, I think they like it. I mean, obviously they're supporting me and let me do all this stuff. So,
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Cool. I would
A little
imagine.
bit.
So, is there a parent that you have that rides? I mean, is that kind of, is your father or your mother, do they ride trials and that's kind of how you got into it? Or was it a different family member?
Yeah, my dad, he rode motocross for a while, and then he got into trials, and then he got me and my sister into trials. Because I think one of the reasons is it's safer, so he got us into that. You can't really get that hurt on a trials bike. So he's the one that got us into all of that.
So he got you into trials to try to keep you safe. And now you're racing Endurocross at the X Games.
Yeah, exactly.
Plan failed.
Did he just high-five himself because he figured out what happened? Like, it backfired! Son of a gun! No! Well, that's all right. My
Well, it didn't
parents tried
backfire
to
for
raise
her.
me to be normal and to not be crazy. And, well, I guess it worked.
No, they failed for me.
All right, Morgan. Besides, the chance to possibly go win a medal, what are some of the big things that you want to take away from this experience, being able to compete, at the level that X Games is?
I definitely want to get like a top 5 in the race. I mean, a medal would be awesome. But taking away from this would be just like gaining my experience at X Games. And then if they have it next year for the Endurocross, I mean, definitely come back swinging. But, I mean, I obviously want to get a medal this year, though.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Awesome. Well, we really, really appreciate you coming on the show. I know it was it's interesting us getting set up and stuff like that, as it always is. But seat time, we just like to keep it crazy here. If we're not pushing technology, we're pushing each other. And I don't like to get pushed, so we just push technology. So I'm going to be down there tomorrow evening, but unfortunately it's going to be too late to probably do anything because I'm going to be up early Friday morning to get my media credentials so I can head down there. But I will be down there, and I will be taking pictures during practice. I'm going to be trying to do interviews because I'm going to put together a little podcast of audio only, of talking to racers like yourself, obviously some of the other women, so the other men. And I want to try to talk to some of the promoters, too, from Endurocross to really talk about X Games and what they're doing for the sport and stuff like that. So look for me. Look for the mustache. Probably going to have a seat time shirt on. And please don't be afraid to come talk to me. I'd love to meet you in person. Just to say thanks for being on the show in person. And, of course, then get your thoughts on the track before we go into the mains. And then I'm going to want to talk to everybody afterwards to get those as well. So, yeah, we appreciate it. And I look forward to meeting you in person.
To you.
Well, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. As always, it's great talking to ladies that race dirt bikes because I think it brings such a different perspective to it. One of the great co-hosts / guests that we like to have on is Jordan Bailey. She's been in your shoes, but on the GNCC side of things, being a top woman's pro racer. So it's so cool to be able to get ladies like yourself in here to talk about the sport, and it's a different perspective. So I really appreciate that. So thank you very much for coming on, and I do look forward to meeting you in person. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, your parents can stop thinking we're weird, and I hope that you guys have a great night, and we'll meet soon. Thanks again for being on the show. Woo-woo! All right, so next we go to Taylor Robert. Hopefully he's prepped. Do you think he's prepped?
Probably not.
We'll find out. All right, so we're just going to call him and see what happens. Again, as we always like to do, we like to thank the people that do support this show. We don't get a chance enough to mention Fly Racing, though we do have a sign back here for those guys. So please go check them out.
It might be in the way.
Stillwell Performance. That's okay. You're just following me. Stillwell Performance does a great job of suspending anybody's business. And one of the fun things that I don't think a lot of other people know, too, is that they do a great job making other products for your motorcycle. One of them is the adjustable link guard, which is fantastic for KTMs because now that they have linkage, they have that annoying, it's just at an odd angle and it gets caught up on stuff. For slow guys like myself, our next guest will not have that problem because he just lifts the front wheel higher and slams into it with the back wheel, sort of a splat, if you will. We'll get into those technical terms later on the definition show of Seat Time where it explains everything that I actually mentioned, all the dumb stuff.
It's going to be a long episode.
Yeah, long episode. And then, of course, the guys over at Fast Company and Dirt Tricks. If you do not go check them out, Taylor Robert will not win X Games. And we want Taylor Robert to win X Games. So, Taylor Robert, welcome to the show. Welcome back to America. Whoop, whoop.
All right.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Just had a little relaxing day. I had a long day yesterday with like 25 hours of traveling. So today just hanging out, and then gonna ride Endurcross tomorrow, and then head to Austin.
How's the jet lag, bro?
Oh, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. I popped a couple Benadryl last night and passed out for a while.
Smart man.
That doesn't sound bad.
Because Benadryl is much safer than Ambien. I don't think people realize what.
You see all kinds of fuzzy things on the wall when you take Ambien, so I think Benadryl's the better option.
Yeah, so I think it's smart that you took a bunch of antihistamines opposed to a bunch of God only knows what's and that kind of shit. So
Yeah, right.
I think you're smart. You're healthier and better in shape than we are. I mean, I'm probably better looking, but we obviously know that's debatable.
Yeah, it's all in the stash.
Yeah, it's true. I can offer free mustache rides. What do you have?
I got nothing.
Yeah. All right, dude. So lots to talk about. Obviously, you're going to be coming into Austin soon because you're going to be racing at X Games, which is cool because first time in Texas, going to be here for 3 years. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you just came back from your first endeavor at Erzberg, where you got 9th place, beating out Cody Webb by millimeters of tires as you guys raced through the last arch there, and we'll find out if you even needed to do that. And of course, this is your first year on the KTM. I mean, or on factory KTM. Huge changes coming into this year. We did talk to you earlier about some of those changes that came on, but we haven't had a chance to check in. So, 5th place at the first Endurocross in Las Vegas. Good, bad, indifferent, right where you expected. Tell us a little bit about how that kind of broke down for you.
Well, that was just a weekend that I wanted to get in and get over with. I, as you guys know, probably had surgery about 6 weeks before that race, and
yep, you had your busted gut or whatever.
Yeah, so I blew out my intestines, and I was just trying to get through that race. I was actually feeling pretty good about 2 weeks before the race, and then I got really sick the Friday before Vegas, so a whole week before the race, and I didn't eat anything from Friday until the day of the race. I just basically went on like a liquid diet and was completely drained, felt awful. But I made it through the weekend, even though I went over the bars in the first turn, and then good old Destry Abbott went over the bars on top of me, and him and I started dead last, and I luckily the track was technical enough where I could just kind of work my way up, and I think it was pretty physically demanding as well. So once I got through that, I was happy. I mean, 5th place is not a bad place to start. You get some points and just move on to the next one. And then I've been feeling great since then, and went to Erzberg, had an awesome time, and now I'm ready for some X Games action.
Oh my gosh, X Games. I as well am excited about X Games. So I wanted to know, I kind of did some history searching, if you will, on X Games and your history with Endurocross. And your history with Endurocross actually aligns perfectly with Endurocross's history with X Games. 2011 at LA Coliseum. That was your first X Games and Endurocross. So how was that? Do you think that experience was any different than what a lot of other people experienced with their first Endurocross experience?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I had done some Endurocrosses before that, but never as like something that I really took, seriously, or that I was contracted to do. It was just kind of like, oh, I'm going to go try and do Vegas. But yeah, that was my first main event I ever made, was the first X Games, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, it was a really cool experience, and just get out there with that many fans and knowing that many people are watching it was pretty cool. And then obviously since then I've done every Endurocross X Games there's been, and hopefully I get to do as the rest of them however many more there's going to be also. Right.
Yeah, and this is so if you're a top Endurocross rider, if you're in the points, I would say top 10, and the Enduro X of X Games is definitely going to be part of the Endurocross series. Does that mean that you probably are shoe-in for an invite? I don't know if that's a dumb question, but because isn't X Games an invite only? But then right now X Games is actually part of the Endurocross series.
Right. Which I think they actually take the top 20 guys from the series. So.
Uh-oh. Did we get a frozen Taylor?
Uh-oh.
Trying to get.
Uh-oh. There you go. You're back.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big thing to try and get invited to X Games, but luckily every year I've been in a position where I didn't really have to worry about getting an invite.
Yeah, I mean, if I had an invite-only thing, a soiree, if you will, you would be on my invite list.
I'd invite you, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I mean, I think that we had a good time at Endurocross in Vegas last year.
Yeah.
I don't remember half of it, but I know I was there. So I mean, apparently we were having a good time.
That's the sign of a good time, I think.
It just really sucked at 3:30 in the morning when we had to leave and get in the car and start driving home.
Yeah.
But hey, you make little sacrifices in life, right?
I don't think it's a sacrifice.
So, Erzberg.
Yes.
I mean, I could ask a lot of little questions, but my big question is, tell me the most important part that we need to know, because holy shit, that had to be crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, it was really a pretty cool week. I got to try a lot of stuff and experience a lot of new things. I went to the KTM headquarters and the race shop in Mattighofen. Then I went to the Red Bull headquarters in Salzburg. And I went down to Erzberg and just checked it out, and it rained every single day I was there, up until the day of the race. And finally, the day of the race, it was sunny. But it was a pretty good time. I mean, I got to hang out with Johnny Walker the whole time, and he kind of took me to the areas that we needed to walk, and kind of just took me under his wing and showed me everything that he thought I needed to know. And then he went out there and smoked me. So
do they normally run around the same track, or do they kind of pick out different sections and that kind of stuff?
That's one thing about Erzberg that I kind of learned after doing this trip is if you've done it once or twice, especially if you've done it consecutive years in a row, it's definitely a huge advantage, because all those guys that had done it before knew exactly where they were going, because the track's generally the same. They might like change it up just a little bit. But like this year they added, I think, one new section that they had never run before, which was a pretty tough section. But other than that, like all those guys have ridden those sections before, and like Johnny was out there for 3 weeks before the race riding, and Letty goes.
Well, I know that's cheater.
Yeah, Letty goes there like for a week at a time every month and just rides. So those guys definitely have a little bit of an advantage in that aspect of it. But now that I kind of know what it's like, and I actually this morning I watched the whole thing on online on Red Bull, and just kind of it was good to see exactly how they were doing things compared to how I was doing it. But the one thing about what you guys see compared to what I see as a rider is they don't really film that much in the woods, and the woods is freaking nasty. Like, there is so much technical stuff in those woods that they can't get cameras on. That is definitely, that's where a lot of the race goes on.
Yeah. It was really cool being able to watch the live event. Red Bull's done that for the past couple years, being able to put up the live feed, and it is a really, really, really awesome aspect to be able to watch from. But it is the exact same parts where if you watch a GNCC, you're like, man, I wish they could get more camera angles. It's like, yeah, I mean, I wish that they had $1 million to spend on this too, like, because that is the deciding factor. I mean, you guys are riding miles and miles of trail, so it's definitely tough to cover, the whole trail. But if you were to say you're an American now, you've gone to Erzberg, you've competed in it, you've done top 10, hardest part of the entire spectrum of prologue, Iron Giant, all that kinds of stuff, what is probably the hardest part?
The hardest part, like technical wise, is literally for me in the woods because it was muddy, slippery, tree roots. They have all those steel pipes coming down the side of the hill that you have to cross when you're already on off camber. Mm-hmm. So that stuff is hard. As far as like super technical, you have to be super light and stuff on the bike. But I mean, it always comes back to Carl's Diner because that section is like, there's nothing really, really hard in Carl's Diner where you're like, dude, I don't know if I'm going to make this. Like, pretty much anybody can make it through Carl's Diner. It's just how quickly you can go through it. And it's so long that it just wears on you. And you get all the way to the end of it, and then you're like, all right, I have a little break. But literally, you like drop down the hill, and then you go back into it and go the opposite direction. Oh. So.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
it was
I didn't know that
bad. The way it makes it look, I guess, from our perspective, is it's kind of like you enter rocky field at point A and
just go across,
and then exit point B. But yeah, if it's all that, it's like, hey, you see that part over there? You're about to ride that again. You suck. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So how long did it actually take you to finish the whole thing?
It was just over 2 hours. I was like 40 minutes behind Johnny, I think. Right. So and he did it. He did it in like an hour and a half.
That's killer.
Explain a little bit about, I kind of like just caught this offhand about you and Cody Webb racing to the last arch, even though the finish was at a different point. Kind of explain a little bit more what happened and why you guys were even zipping each other towards the finish.
Well, it all started on the last nasty climb, which they call Dynamite, and like I was pretty exhausted. I made a few rookie mistakes throughout the race where like I tipped my bike over on the side of a hill, and then I had to like basically lift my bike back up to where the trail is because you can't go down, because if you go down you're not getting your bike out. So it's one of those things where you have to lift your bike back up the hill, and I did that probably 2 times were really bad. 1 time was not so bad. So I lost a lot of time there, and I know Cody lost some time in the forest too. So basically, we came to like the last technical section, and we were really close together. And I was lining up for the hill, and he just blitzed, like railed right by me, and tried to make the hill without lining up for it, and he didn't make it. So I went for it right next to him, and I made it. And then then I think that kind of made it like the battle was on. I didn't actually realize he was that close to me. And so then we're like, we had probably both had a little bit of, pride and like American pride going on there. Like we wanted to be the first American to the finish line. And so then there's like another little wooded section right after that. I kind of railed through that pretty good. And then up the next climb, which was real loose, but it wasn't very hard. And we got to the top of that, and I was actually right behind Ben Hemingway right there. And the scanner wasn't working. So Ben was stuck there, I was stuck there, and we waited there for...
Uh-oh.
Oh, did we totally just lose the computer? Oh my gosh. So, we're going to have to get it connected again. Apparently, one computer just shit the bed. It's plugged in and everything, but that just sucks. So, as we do this, I definitely want to check back in with Taylor because it's going to be interesting. But the good thing is I have some random stuff to talk about. So, yeah, on the eco tires, that's going to be a good question, Mr. Kudla. So, a lot of stuff that's going on right now that I think is really interesting. Charlie Mullins' wrist injury. With that, unfortunate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he was in title contention, obviously, with the National Enduros, just kicking ass and taking names. I mean, he had not lost a National Enduro, and in pretty much all of them so far, he is just leaps and bounds above everybody.
Yeah, I saw that picture. It was a nasty picture.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and apparently it wasn't broken. I think it was just a very, very horrible dislocation.
That is a terrible dislocation.
Yeah, so
Oh,
and then
Lord.
he had surgery that night to help to plate it, pin it, or the whatever doctors do to fix that kind of situation. So I'm like watching the chat room and like watching the computer and like trying to talk, and this is just like we try to not have any technical errors.
Well,
And
I'm here, so there's guaranteed to be at least 2 technical
we were doing
errors.
so
we've
good.
had
We were
one.
doing so good. No, we're rebooting the for whatever reason. Even though I know it was plugged in, and I know Steven knows it was plugged in, it was not charging, and it just shit the bed on us. So it's rebooting. We'll get Taylor back up, and we'll keep talking. But go ahead and text him just to let him know that it's not that we didn't hang up on him. So that wrist injury for Charlie Mullins sucks, though, but it opens the door for so many different things. I think more so in the National Enduro series than in the GNCC series. I hope, having talked to Caleb Russell, Charlie Mullins, Josh Strang, guys like that, right now I do think it is Caleb Russell's to lose.
Yeah, I definitely do too. I think him and Charlie had a really good race series going on, and
Yeah.
I think
Josh Strang, I think he's got a win in him.
Yeah, I think
for
he
sure.
can. Yeah.
I don't think that he like it. I almost hope that this like puts like an extra jump in his fire, for him to get
It's
up
gonna
there
be
and
hard
try
to stop.
compete.
It's gonna be hard to stop Caleb, I think.
Yeah, he is just
at this
so
point.
just on it, and it's pretty awesome that he's doing that well. So I mean, I think we kind of know how that's going to play out first place. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes for second, third, and so forth back. The National Enduro Series is, I think, where it's going to be the most crazy because of the fact that we've got so many guys right now that are absolutely equal. Like we look at Brad Bakken, just won in Virginia. He wasn't even 20 seconds back was Nick Farringer, and then we had Grant Baylor in third behind Farringer, about 20 seconds.
Yeah, see, me being a fan, I don't know any of this.
Yeah.
I just enjoy listening to it. So.
It's just crazy though that those guys. I mean, you think about what they're doing. They had 7 test sections throughout the day. They did 60 some odd miles, and they're seconds apart.
That's really close.
You know, they're on different rows. They're in different minutes. You know, it's insane that they're going to come down to this. And though I am very unhappy, and it sucks what happened to Charlie Mullins. To be honest about it though, most likely this is going to give us so much more of a competitive National Enduro Series.
Yeah,
now.
it'll be probably a little bit better racing
Because we're going to have guys like
closer.
Andrew DeLong was in 4th place. He's a fantastic rider, and we got a lot of other guys that are kind of sitting in those spaces. Jesse Grome's done really good. He's gotten on the podium before. He was sitting in 5th, I think, this past weekend in Virginia. So those kind of guys, I think, are going to make many more podium, appearances, and it's going to change up. Like I think Farringer wants it. Like this, like Brad Bakken just got his
an
first
opportunity
win.
now. He's got an opportunity.
But
now.
Farringer, I think, is the one that's going to. I think he sees the opportunity, and he's going to do his best to jump on it.
Well, if he can push, I think he can get it then.
Yeah. So what's our next National Enduro? Let's look here at the schedule. The Loose Moose in
Loose Moose.
MI. Is that Michigan? Michigan.
Yep.
Loose Moose in Michigan.
Good dirt.
The 29th. Yeah, it will be good dirt. And then we're going to have the Rattlesnake Enduro, Cross Fork, PA. Actually, that's the weekend before my birthday. So it's in July. We don't really get too much of a summer break. Not that I'm surprised. That's cool. So we've got June 30th, and we're going to have pretty much July 30th, and then August 10th. Oh, Colorado. That's why I can't make that one in August. I was going to go to that one in Colorado, but unfortunately that is Liam's birthday, 2 years old. So
just take Liam.
Look,
I think
Taylor
that's what he wants for his
called into
birthday.
the show.
That guy.
Hey, I'm
what's
so
up?
glad you knew that we wanted you on.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey.
What up?
No, so apologies, but apparently, even though the computer was plugged in, it was not charging. So it just decided that it was done. It did not like you anymore, and it was like Dunskies. So we got it connected. We got to the point where you were saying that we knew the race was on.
Yeah.
And that was when it was like, oh, what is happening? Oh my gosh. So if you're more than welcome to pick right back up where you were.
All right, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
basically we got to the top of the very last climb, which wasn't a very tough one, and there was a checkpoint there, and it was Ben Hemingway had just gotten there. I went up the hill right behind him, and we got there, and the scanner for the transponders wasn't working. So we're sitting there, and while we're sitting there, Cody comes up behind us. All three of us are sitting there, and we're all like basically loaded up with the clutch, like ready to just dump it and go because we're waiting. And the scanner didn't work, so then the guy just ended up letting Ben go, and then he tried mine. Mine still wasn't working, so then he wrote my number down, let me go, and then did the same thing to Cody. And but Cody was right behind me, and then it was on to the finish. We were just like all out, like full moto. And came down across the fire road into like basically where the pits are, and that's where the actual finish line was. And Cody and I both were under the impression that the Red Bull Arch was the finish line, so we were all out like to the finish line, and we saw the people there standing there with the scanners, but I don't think him and I cared very much because we just wanted to get to that Red Bull Arch first, and it was pretty cool because we were both just like flat out as fast as we could go to get to that Red Bull Arch. I mean, you would have thought we were going for a gold medal, but it was 9th and 10th place. So,
and you guys are
it's all about pride.
Some of the best endurocross racers in the world. So those like little rock outcroppings and tires they have built up there, like right at the arch, you guys probably just zipped right through those, and those people were like, "Oh shit, we're about to get run over!" Like,
yeah, exactly. And they were actually standing right in front of the tires, and we were, I mean, like 4th gear coming into those tires, and they just like jumped out of the way, and Cody and I both like skidded up to the tires and then just blew through the Endurcross obstacles. And then we got to the Red Bull Arch, and the promoter was there, and he like gave us a high five, and we both took our helmets off. And then when I'm like within 30 seconds, Dougie Lampkin comes up behind me and he's like, "Hey, you missed that checkpoint over there. You should probably go scan before Cody does." So I like threw my helmet on real quick and went over there and scanned. And
that worked out well.
That's pretty much how the race went.
So you guys blew through. You guys actually like blew through the last checkpoint, thinking that the checkpoint was at the arch.
That's
yeah,
funny.
Exactly.
Love it. Yeah, it was one of those things where I kind of like I must have been out of the room and kind of catching it and like, man, what is going on? And walked back in and unfortunately just missed most of it and was trying to find like a good replay of it the past couple of days and couldn't find it. So I knew once we were going to have you on, I was like, we'll get you to explain it and break it down for us.
That's definitely pretty funny.
Oh, so what are you going to take away from this experience? You know, I would assume, having been in the top 10, that KTM is going to be more than happy to have you back to try to get an American on the top. But, you know, so say that's the case. You're going back next year. What are some of the things that you've learned that you're going to work on, that you're going to go in knowing next year on how to improve and possibly win this event?
Well, I think just having the experience of knowing the mountain will help a lot. And after watching the whole race today, I saw like they did a lot of footage of Johnny like out front, and I could see exactly what he was doing. And it's kind of the same thing as always, whether it's Endurocross or Extreme Enduro, and it's just keep moving forward. Like don't stop, just try to keep your momentum up. And it was kind of cool watching the footage because they showed other guys that were in front of me on some of the really technical stuff, and I saw some areas where they were better than me, but then areas where I was better than them. So I know like I could have been up further if I hadn't made some of those little maybe, you know, I'll work on that this next year and try not to fall off the side.
Well, there goes again.
Well,
I blame me.
We may have a computer that just doesn't want to stay on anymore.
Hell, that's fucking hot.
Yeah?
Oh,
is that what it is? All right. Well,
Oh.
It's very unfortunate.
Well.
This is a technical issue we have unfortunately never come across before with this computer. So, but we've got other stuff to talk about, which we will. And if Taylor Robert jumps back in, we'll have him. But we'll make it quick because obviously we don't really know what's going to happen. So yeah, the National Enduro stuff, super excited about that. One of the things I did want to mention is that we did have a winner for the free copy of Meta. So if they wanted to, I reached out to them on Instagram, but unfortunately they have a private account, and I don't need to just follow people.
Is that here?
Yeah, I have it right over there.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
Let's do it. Free copy of Meta. we're not giving this one away because some of these pages are stuck together. But it's not. It was. I mean, it won't be. Then.
Oh, well, that page is stuck together.
But so Peyton415, if you happen to be out there listening, or somebody knows who that Instagram handle is, and they follow him, or he lets you follow him, and not private, whatever. Go ahead and please get him to reach out to us. If he doesn't in the next couple of days, there is a runner-up that I'm going to go with, and we'll get them their free copy of Meta.
This is nice.
Yeah, does that not look fantastic?
This is thick paper.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but this is very nice.
You know what's funny is, okay, now that you've said that, what do you know about Meta?
I know absolutely nothing other than I believe it was made by Wes Williams.
From Verb?
Yeah.
Yes, it was definitely made by the guys at Verb.
Other than that, I know nothing.
But did you know it was coming out?
Not other than when I saw it on your show last week.
Okay,
or 2 weeks ago.
But you mentioned one of the best things I think that people realize when they pick up this copy. They're like $20 a subscription. You get 2 of these, so they're bi-yearly.
Yeah, but this is a book. This isn't a magazine.
That's what a lot of people aren't realizing, is that this is a premium collective.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just a magazine. This is a premium collective, and that is why you subscribe to this, because this is something you hold on to.
This is definitely
it's
a
like
coffee table book or something like that, because people look at this
fantastic. So
like this.
It's the bomb. It's the bomb. So it's a good time. Definitely go check it out. Peyton415, if you're out there, please check in with us on Facebook, because we would like to get you your free copy. If not, we will go to our runner-up.
Which is me. Dang it.
Just because you're on the show doesn't mean you're the runner-up. I got to see that Rory Mead was released today from the hospital. He was injured very, very poorly about 2 months ago at a GNCC event.
Good. That's good.
A lot of very large possibility of paralysis. But as the swelling has gone down and surgeries and healing is really come into place, a lot of mobility has come back, and he's still working on it in rehab. That's
luckily,
the case.
doctors are really good nowadays, and they can fix almost
anything.
So
2 months in the hospital, doing rehab, getting surgeries and stuff like that. He's been released, so he will have day rehab. He'll be going back for that, but he's at least reset, so he doesn't have to live at the hospital anymore. So super excited about that.
That's very good.
Yeah,
very good.
I wanted to mention that because I was excited about that. Pulp MX. For those of you who don't know, definitely a motocross show. If you listen to this show, I would imagine you do listen to other podcasts, so you probably are either a fan of DMXS or Pulp MX, if not both. Pulp MX last week was talking about Zach Osborne, and I don't know how many people have gone back in the archives with seat time, but we have had Steve Mathis on the show because of the fact that he was giving Zach Osborne shit for going to ISTE last year. Well, he has already started to give Zach Osborne shit because of the fact that Zach Osborne is the rumors are that Zach Osborne wants to continue to do off-road racing.
Yeah, I believe he wasn't gonna sign with Geico again because of that.
Right.
I think that's very good for him. I think I like enduros and I like cross country, and I think it's very good training. I think it's good to get into something a little bit different, not do the same thing, kind of break it up a little bit.
I agree.
And
I would agree,
I think
but
it'll
a lot of
definitely
people
make you a
out
better
there
rider.
think that it's like, if they're going to pay you millions of dollars to race motocross, why would you leave that to go be able to race everything? And my opinion is, it's like, well, it doesn't care what everybody else thinks. If he wants to make $500,000 a year, and these are very arbitrary numbers, if he wants to make $500,000 a year and race whatever he wants to race all year long because that's what makes him happy, then let him do it. Or accept the fact that that's what he's doing.
Well, I mean, you look,
bitch and complain that he doesn't want millions of dollars to only do one form of style
of racing. You look at people like RV, and he's doesn't seem like he's very happy to be racing. I think Zach Osborne is happy to be racing, and I think that's one of the things that keeps him a little bit happy.
Are you really going to try this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Guys.
This is great.
Steven is pulling mad shit out of his hat right now. I literally am looking at Taylor Robert on my phone right now. So Taylor, talk, and we'll see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Holy shit!
All right. This is great.
Now, I don't know how much battery's left on my phone, so we may have the same problem all over again. So, really quick, we're going to stop talking about Zach Osborne and the Pulp MX. What I was going to say is I had a voicemail that I left Steve Mathis last week on the Pulp MX line. He played it on the show, and apparently there's some commentary about it. So if you're a fan of Pulpamex, make sure you listen all the way into the voicemails because apparently one
I'll
of
have
mine
to
is
listen.
on there. I have not had a chance. I haven't made it that far into the episode. And honestly, what he says at that point doesn't interest me enough to just skip ahead because I'm pretty sure it's going to be some whatever. And, you know, hey, I like what he says. I like his show, but still.
Well, he's
Okay.
not an off-road advocate.
Right, if you will. Taylor Robert, third time's the charm. What the hell were we even talking about?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. What do we got going on now?
I don't know, but apparently my iPhone's dancing.
All right. So,
What were we talking about? You
I
were,
don't
you
even
were
remember.
explaining something, and it was awesome. I think you were talking about how much you liked me.
I think
I think we were talking about how if I was going to go back to Erzberg.
Yes, we're going to come back
That's
and what
right.
you're going to learn and what you're going to do to win this son bitch.
I'm gonna go really fast, and I'm not gonna put my feet down at all the whole race.
that's a decent plan. It sounds kind of scary.
Yeah, and that's how I'm gonna win. But no,
Is
it's
that all I need to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
If you could do that whole race without putting your feet down, I can guarantee you'd probably win.
I'm
Wow.
6'3". My feet are coming down sometime or another.
Okay. Well, we're just going to have to skip over to the fact that you're on the ISDE team because literally now that we've got you back on for the third time, the chat room, the same dude, Double D, who actually is a big fan of ours, and we're a big fan of him. He's a cool dude. He's just like typed ISDE over and over again into the chat room. So you're back on the ISDE team. Apparently that's what we should talk about. Tell me how excited you are because now you're top American at Erzberg. You're top American in the past at the ISDE. I mean, are you going to go win yourself one of these E2 or E3 classes this year?
I am definitely looking forward to it. That's one thing I really want to focus on this year, and I'm going to definitely do some sprint training this summer, and try and I think at this point it's going to be E3 for me. I'm going to ride one of those big 5 Hondos and see if I can go out and win a class. And you know, my eventual overall goal is to win an overall ISDE. No American's ever done that before, and
Hell yeah.
and every year I've done ISD, I've moved up. So if I keep moving up at the same rate, I think a win is in my near future, and that's something I really want to accomplish.
So,
Very good.
so how different is the ISDE from other events? Because I've heard that a lot of the Europeans are just really fast sprinters and not that great at a lot of the technical stuff. They're just great at sprinting. Is that a huge deal whenever you go to the ISDE?
Yeah, I mean, ISD is really all just sprint speed because there's not any extreme tests at ISD like there would be at a World Enduro. But you know, most of those guys are pretty decent extreme riders too. There's I didn't realize this until I went to Erzberg this year. But Ivan Cervantes, who has been a class champion and a world champion, he did Erzberg last year, and he passed Graham Jarvis and Johnny Walker on the same hill at the same time.
It's impressive.
Yeah, so he's a bad dude. Obviously, David Knight is a world champion. Juha Salminen is a world champion, and those are all guys that have won Erzberg too. So those Euros are pretty good all-around riders. Now, there's a few guys that are obviously better than others at the extreme and the sprint and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, ISD is just all about sprint speed and really how well you can visualize and memorize the tracks because we have a week to walk all the tests and we try to get in as many as we can, maybe twice. But I try to really memorize the tracks as much as I can. That way, when I get there, there's nothing that is surprising to me.
How long are the tests normally? Are about 6 miles or 8 miles or something like that, or are they a lot longer or shorter?
I'm not sure about the mileage, but they're usually between, I'd say, between 5 and 10 minutes would be like an average test. The longest test I've ever done at ISD was like 13 or 14 minutes, and then the shortest test I've ever done was like 2.5 or 3 minutes.
Okay, so it's something you can easily kind of remember.
Yeah, for the most part, except the fact that there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and it changes. Sometimes you're doing there's days where you do the same test the second day, so by the second day guys are a little bit faster, if not way faster, and then some days you're only doing one test. Then there's some days there's the moto test, which is like, in Germany it it wasn't moto, it was this interesting grass track / concrete road course thing. So and they kind of just like threw in some really rocky turns, and you're like, oh, that's our moto. Like, it's interesting, but I can't imagine trying to remember all that stuff. Like, I remember talking to Kurt about it, and the fact of what he would remember, and like, he's like, okay, I remember where this rock pile is, but when he would look at this rock pile, he would go, well, this rock pile, I'm going to be this many minutes back, these many riders are going to go through, so this rock pile is probably going to be disintegrated by this point, so this line I'm seeing, that's probably the line right now, well, that's probably not going to be the line by this, but the way that he would think about this kind of stuff blew my mind. And so I can only imagine that the time that you guys got to walk with him and guys like that, guys that have been to all of these ISTEs multiple times, picked up on a lot of that knowledge, and now you can kind of start to, really, really take that to heart and grow with it. And I, for one, would love to see you win a class and then grow from that even to overall in the ISTE and be like, what up, bitches?
Yeah.
I just want America to represent at ISDE.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, I mean, Kurt was amazing at it. He taught me a lot about ISD. He was, especially the tests and memorization. I mean, biggest thing that he would do that I kind of caught on to is he would walk like, say like 5 minutes of the test, and then he would stop and he would visualize all the corners up until that point. And then he would walk another 5 minutes and visualize from the start up until the point. So like, he's always going over in his mind, like what was going on in the test. So by the end of the test, you should have like just about every corner memorized. And then you go back at night, and when you're sitting in the hotel room or whatever, you try and go through all the tests in your mind to run through them again. Basically, like, it's like doing a moto race. Like, the first lap you kind of check it out. The second lap you like might hit a couple jumps, and the third lap you should probably hit like all the jumps and be pretty dialed in. So it's kind of like doing that, but since we can't ride, you got to do it in your head and just imagine what it would be like.
Wow.
Well, I can't remember what happened 5 minutes ago, so.
You're like, I do. It was us about to throw a computer out of the window. All right. We did have a question earlier on in the chat room that I think is a good point to go back to it. So we're talking about, I absolutely think that there's a possibility for you to be winning an overall class. I think that's not questionable. I think that's easily doable for you. Even moving forward from that, I think you overall in an ISDE could be in your future. A lot to learn there still, I think, for Americans when it comes to that style of racing, and a lot of weird hurdles to overcome that we just don't ever see racing here in America. But somebody in the chat room was talking about the Caselli Cup, dirt rider, and they were referring to it as the dirt rider, how they used to always pick kind of the top off-road racer. And this year, they've changed that to the Caselli Cup, obviously with the passing of Kurt Caselli, and Charlie Mullins won that award this year. And they were kind of thinking, do you think that it's going to take more extreme enduros or events like that for you or someone like yourself to be able to get a better chance at possibly being voted in at being, the winner of the Caselli Cup?
To be honest, I have no idea how they rank that, because I won it the year before and I didn't do any extreme enduros the year before.
Right.
And last year I did a few works races, a few extreme enduros, ISDE, and obviously, like, ISDE is the only place where really all of the top guys are racing each other. So I'm not sure exactly how dirt rider. I think it's actually dirt bike that votes on that. But yeah.
I'm definitely going to say that, one, yes, I'm ignorant to all the information, and two, I'm totally going off the chat room. So right now, unfortunately, I'm putting my hands in Double D's hands, which might be sexual and also awkward. So I don't know.
Let it be. Just let it be.
And I will just hold you here and stare into your eyes awkwardly. Oh my gosh. So we're going to be going to Austin. And you're going to be flying in there, and we're going to be racing dirt bikes and doing some X Games type stuff. What are you expecting? Like you said, you weren't feeling that great when it came down to the first round. So what are you kind of expecting, I mean, for coming into Austin?
I just want to go out there. I mean, from what I've seen, the track looks awesome. I know Cody's already complaining about some of the obstacles, but I think the obstacles look pretty fun, and I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a typical like big X Games track with some big jumps, and they said there's going to be some pretty technical parts of it too. So I like that when they mix it up. Like Vegas was just purely technical. Like when I looked back and watched the video of us riding, I was not a fan of the Vegas track because we looked like we were riding so slow out there. And I think for the fans, it needs to be a little bit more exciting, like make the racing a little bit better, so make the tracks a little bit more flowy.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I like it when they mix in a little bit of technical and fast and jumpy and stuff like that. So I'm looking for another medal. You know, I have one medal from X Games, and it is a gold one. So obviously I want to try and match that. But if I can come out of there with a medal, I will definitely be happy. But gold is always the goal.
Aha! I wonder, have we seen what the gold medals look like this year? Because they've always been really creative, I think.
Yeah, I saw a picture of them, and they're actually pretty sweet. They have like the Texas Longhorns across the medal.
All right.
Bitchin'.
I'm down with that.
Bitchin'.
Yeah.
Well, before my battery runs out of my phone because I see the low battery warning, do you have any plans to party while we're in town in Austin?
We'll see what happens after the race.
After you win, mother bitches?
Yeah, if you win, you better go out.
Yeah. If I win, I'm going out with you because I know that mustache will get all the chicks.
Well, the good thing is I don't need any of the chicks, and I'll just hand them on. I'll be like, no, seriously, this is the guy with the gold medal that you want. The mustache just draws in the ladies. He's the one that draws the panties. That might have come across weird, but I'm going to go with it. Well, dude, before we lose you, I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for hanging with us. Obviously, all this stupid stuff. Great job at Erzberg. Great job this year taking 5th, even though you're feeling like crap at the first round. And good luck, man. I really hope it's going to go well for you this weekend, and I can't wait to see it happen in person.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. Always fun talking to you guys, and hopefully I can get back up on this show soon.
You know it, sir.
Yep. It's been definitely fun talking to you, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you get out of here. My battery doesn't like you, apparently. None of my batteries do.
Yeah, you've broken everything.
He's too pretty. Thanks, Taylor. We'll talk soon. Actually, yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you at the end of the week.
Yeah, you guys gonna be there on Thursday?
Oh yeah, I'll be there Friday morning.
All right, cool. I'll see you on Friday.
Yes, sir. Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, so dude, so awesome that guy stuck with us because seriously, he's another one of those awesome dudes that's just like I like doing the show. Not that Seat Time does a great job. It's just that he likes to talk dirt bikes. He likes to talk moto and just kind of talk about the sport, and that's what keeps me involved and why I like to keep calling him back. So
yeah, he's definitely a fun person to talk to.
That's what makes it cool. So one of the things that we were kind of chatting up was the Pulp MX deal. If you guys get a chance to listen to it, I'd like to know your opinions. I will be listening to the rest of it tomorrow when I drive to work and while I'm at work. So I'm going to have my own opinions and things like that.
Yeah, I'm about an hour into the show, I'm sure.
So it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting to hear. And I'm kind of hoping that we can almost start a dialogue through voicemail and then through fans of the shows. Because that way I don't ever have to actually talk to him and he doesn't ever have to talk to me.
Well, maybe we need a call-in number for this so he can leave us a voicemail.
I don't want that. I don't want that. If there's anything I know about Steve Mathis, he doesn't give a shit enough to do that.
That is probably true.
Yeah. He's the most egotistical people out there, and he totally knows it, and he's totally okay with it.
Yeah.
So Seat Time. You guys can find us on seattime.co. That is the website where all of this stuff gets archived. Shows like this are all over the place there. Of course, YouTube is where we upload all of these shows, so you could just subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell it to email you when shows are updated, and that way you'll just get an email. It's much easier than trying to come back every day. Of course, we're on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. If you're on Twitter, it is twitter.com/seattime_co is our username. We are on Instagram. It's just regular old Seat Time, no space. If you're looking for audio only, you can subscribe to us on Stitcher. So Seat Time, 2 words, and iTunes, 2 words is Seat Time. Makes it a little bit easier if you search for A Pintful of Awesome as well. You can find us that way. So, Mr. Kevin Miller, thank you for coming in. First time.
I've had a
thoughts?
great time. This has
Just
been a lot of fun.
I mean, what, 3 beers?
I've enjoyed it. Yeah, 3 beers,
All
a
right.
bathroom break, and
Hey,
and
that's
it's all
our
been
first
good.
guest to have a bathroom break.
If I didn't go to the
Ever.
bathroom, I would have been laying on the floor somewhere.
Our first guest ever. We made it in almost 2 hours because of we were looking at like an hour and 20-minute long show until like we just were looking at a black screen and we were like, wow.
Well, Taylor kind of broke everything, and I blame him and I blame me. So I think it's okay.
No, we don't blame anybody because believe me, if we try to think through all this stuff beforehand and shit like that comes out of nowhere, man, for sure.
Definitely.
So, for those of you guys who would like to learn more about X Games and Endurocross and stuff like that, definitely follow all the Seat Time channels. I'm going to be blowing it up. I'm going to be down there. I do have my media credentials. We have decided a plan. I will be there specifically for work for Seat Time on Friday. So Endurocross and Step Up. I'm gonna go take pictures during Step Up too. Try to interview some of those guys.
That sounds fun.
And I think that'll be really cool. So if you guys are looking to learn a little bit more about behind the scenes, stuff like that, just definitely check out all of our social channels. I think pictures are going to be a big part of it. I rented a cool lens. I'm going to have a lot of, I think I'm going to.
Maybe you can get Palmer to hit the Step Up.
I think, if anything, I could get Palmer to be the person that interviews the guys of the Step Up. And like
that might work well.
Because they're going to be like, this motherfucker was the one who took me out when he went left.
This guy turned left.
Don't turn left. Ever turn left. So, okay, well, this has been episode 130. This is our X Games Austin episode. I look forward to the recap of X Games Austin and all the other racing that's going on. There's a lot of racing actually all over the country that's going on this coming week. We've got more GNCC, more motocross, and of course we're going to have Endurocross.
I'm liking it.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Well, I really enjoyed this. For those of you who happen to be cider drinkers, or maybe like myself, partake in the gluten-free diet, Woodchuck hard cider. Typically, they have some weird flavors. They're not that great, but this one, they have a cellar series, and this one was the mint. I kind of was skeptical, but when I saw that awesome high alcohol content of 6.9%, I was like, yes, in. With this, it's a warm day drink. Like, you don't want this. It does have mint. It's not overpowering. It's refreshing, but it's not a fast drink. Like, you can't drink it fast because of that, because of the flavor. So
I don't know. That sounds.
I know.
I
like
like
the
the alcohol
beers
content
in there that I enjoy, so I'm going to have 2 of those.
Went to Oklahoma last weekend, and that 3.2% alcohol. That's
you
just
didn't remember to
ridiculous.
bring alcohol with you?
See, what had happened was,
now he's got a story.
I seemed to have drinking it all, and then had to get more.
Oh,
so that was my first mistake.
You always
bring
you
liquor.
Always overplan.
Bring liquor as the next. That's what I'll do next time.
Always overplan. Well, we have actually. So it's funny you say Oklahoma. I'll just throw this out there for anybody still listening or has ideas about this. We have thought about planning a little Sahara Seat Time trip with a new shop that's getting ready to open up here in North Texas. So if anybody out there would be interested in. I wouldn't even call it a Seat Time planned trip. It would just be a Seat Time organized trip where we would just kind of tell everybody where to meet. We'd go ride, goof off during the daytime, do some bonfires, do some drinking and goofing off at night. Safe family environment. This would not be, because we would have the kids. We would be a family out there together. So, thoughts on it? Let us know. Episode 130. What do you think?
I think it was pretty good.
All right, dude. We appreciate you being in here. He's probably going to be on a little bit more in the future because of the fact he lives close, and I like having somebody here to commentate with. So
I'm down. I've had a really good time. It's been fun.
So remember, last thing, Friday, watch the internet. There is going to be a special Seat Time release that's going to be out there for everybody to check out. I'm excited about this. You don't know anything about it, so that's okay. You should
that's all right. I'll listen.
You're
I'm excited now.
So, yes, check it out. Everybody, thank you very much. Remember to always enjoy a pint full of awesome. We'll see you next Tuesday for Endurocross Recap.
Yeah.